Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cut to the Chase Sports Podcast, where we bring unique insight and analysis behind your favorite teams at the collegiate and professional levels. I'm your host, Chase Yance. Over to my right, we got Matt Ricketts. What's up with you?
What's up, man? Excited to have our guy Chris back on again. Got college football playoff rankings. A lot to get into tonight. I'm excited for it for sure.
That's for sure. And obviously we're missing our big part of the show, Brady and everything. But obviously he's doing his work on the hardwood right now, not the gridiron, but still doing this thing right now at this 7:30 hour right now. But man, we got Chris down at the bottom. Chris, thanks for stopping in again.
Yeah, what did Sam Ellinger say? We're
We're
back.
back.
Yes, we are. We are back in the cut, man.
Super excited to be here, man. I love this. I love this stuff. I love this stuff. So
Man.
I'm all in.
Yes, sir. We appreciate it for sure. And we're not going to waste any time when we're talking about, the rankings coming in, the Ohio State game from this Saturday. That was a huge win. I kind of want to jump into that. If Brady was on the show, he wanted to kind of, discuss with you about this. Is JT Tuimoloau the best defensive end in college football right now? Like, that was an incredible performance. That was unbelievable what he did Saturday. And he was a huge part in the success and the victory on, against Penn State.
Yeah, he's a freak show, man. Like, he played tight end at the same high school that G. Scott Jr. went to. He was the second leading receiver on that team. And G. Scott was a borderline, high 4-star wide receiver. So to be the number 2 receiver on that team means something. And it was all on display. A lot of the stuff he did was so freaky that I don't know if it'll ever be duplicated. And I think this was, I didn't think I would ever see a better performance from a defensive end than what I saw from Chase Young against Penn State in 2019. Obviously, that was the 2 forced fumbles, the 3 sacks, the 9 total tackles. Like, I thought, okay, like that's it. And then JTT goes out there and shows us the value of the Leo to be able to drop back at times. I mean, he picked off 2 passes. I mean, he was part of a 3rd interception with the pass deflection. Obviously, he had the touchdown. He had the forced fumble, which was counted as a sack as well. And then the fumble recovery. I mean, he full display and put the game away. And it's interesting because every single game this year, I feel like someone else's turn to take over a game. It was a Stover game. It's like we've had a couple Marv games, like a Mayan game. Like everyone so talented that at one moment one player can take over a game. And that's exactly what he did. And I think this is a good step in the right direction for him because I graded him out as one of the best players in the D line, but he just wasn't getting home enough. Like it was not paying off. And now it finally paid off. And you look at that and you think, he did what his ability told us he could do, but we're just not used to it all being put together for one game. And so now you think moving forward, if teams want to scheme towards him, then it's over because the rest of the D line is so good. And kind of we saw that actually at a couple points later in the game. And then the guy we saw that makes some plays was Tyleek Williams. I'm kind of in the middle, but JTT is exceptional. He's a really, really talented, player. And I'm excited because his clone is a guy named Mateo Uiagalelei out there out the West. And he's going to come be a Buckeye too. So really, really big play from him. Really special, but I do need him to keep stacking good weeks and don't give me 2 sacks here, 2 sacks there. Get something for me to force teams to game plan for you, because when that happens, this defense kicks it up just another notch, and I'm really excited to see that.
Absolutely. I mean, both defensive ends, I've thought the past 2 weeks have played at an elite level. I mean, Zach Harrison's played very well too. But that game for JTT, I mean, it's in my opinion the greatest defensive performance in college football history.
It's creative player. That should not be allowed.
It's insane. You didn't even realize it till he gets the 1 pick. Okay, wow. Then he tipped the ball up first to Zach. He picks it. Then he gets his pick. He's like, damn, he's having a day. And then he gets Zach. And then he does this, and it's like, God, just stop, bro. It just keeps coming, but no, keep going. So it was crazy. I mean, it was awesome to see. Flipping over to the other side of the ball up front, obviously, one of my biggest takeaways was we didn't really run the ball very well at all. But when we had to, we did. So, it goes back to what Urban Meyer used to always say, when I needed you the most, you gave me your very best. When we needed the most, the biggest drive of the game, we were down, we needed a touchdown, we needed a score. We hit the two big pass plays, and then boom, the offensive line opens one up for Trey. We finally got it. So it's I'm coming away from it shit. We underperformed up front, and we were And Michigan was able to run against this defense for 400 yards. But at the same time, when we absolutely had to do it, we did it. So what's your takeaway with that?
It's like Shaq. Like, I hit my free throws when I need them.
You need to the most. Yeah. It's just
Shit, when I need them on money.
Fuck that hack of Shaq shit. Fuck.
Right. He said late in the game, keep me in the game. I'll hit him. I'll hit him when I need him. The run game was concerning early. I thought Penn State did a really good job schematically, kind of blowing up Matt Jones. Absolutely. I mean, they just filled that gap up. That's what they were doing. They kind of focused on him as the mark. Because, I mean, obviously, like the worst thing for stretch, the worst thing for the run game in particular is interior pressure, and they brought a lot of that. I think it was really good. The adjustment in the second half, no more running out of the pistol, but looking to run out of the shotgun was super important. And that's how they were able to, we were able to break the one really long run because that gives the guards and the center like just an extra split second to go create a hole. And it allows Trey more time to see it because he's not focused on getting the ball and then going. It's all right in front of him. Yeah. We did run under center one time and there was no hole. So Trey bounced it outside, was able to kind of score on the one under center in the second half. But in large part, I was disappointed with the run, but Ryan Day kind of got it when he needed it. And then there's the other part of me. It's like, I do feel like when we need to run the ball, we're going to be able to. I think one of the things that this team gets caught up in is like we're so good at throwing the ball. You don't always have to run the ball. Like it's not imperative. So
100%. Like he's trying. I feel like Ryan's trying to find a balance of like being balanced on offense and practicing the things that we can get better at too much and getting away from just like, you know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the game, we just come out and go air raid and it's over. Like we just explode. So like, but at the same time, like he understands like you got to have a balance and you might have to run the ball against good teams later on, Georgia, Michigan, whoever we're playing. So he tries to work too hard on things that he thinks we need to get better at instead of going out and just actually winning the game when he can. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. It's just like, it's like it's confusing. But like when we have to flip a switch, he just knows how to flip a switch. Like I just don't. There's no other team in college football that can just flip it. Like
no, there isn't.
It's unbelievable.
Sometimes I feel Ryan is 2 and 2 with the NFL roots because like the age-old NFL-ism, take things back because you have to run the setup to set up the pass. And I think sometimes he gets so caught up in that, and teams know that if they pressure CJ, they can get to him. So teams are like, we're just going to load up, and if they drop back and pass, it's cool. We're going to go hit the quarterback because we couldn't stop the pass either way. Right. I want Ryan to transition to more just pass to set up the run. I think he's trying to shake like this kind of soft narrative that it's like an air raid, this, that. No. Just have it go be air raid and then run when you can.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Over this season, we've seen us be physical up front. Like we've seen it. Like we've put that. I think we've kind of put that narrative to rest. Like on last year, soft, not being able to run the ball, whatever. We've kind of put that to rest. I think we put it to rest week 1 against Notre Dame with that last 90-yard drive.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that I absolutely agree with you. And I think Michigan's secondary. I mean, if you watched, I'm sure you've at least seen.
Yeah, bro, they were getting dunked on by that kid from Michigan State, man.
Michigan State's receiver. Imagine Marvin Harrison, bro. Like, I just got a feeling we're just gonna kind of try to establish the run here these next few weeks, and then against Michigan, it's just going to be something completely different. Just come out and just fucking torch them from the start because they're not going to be able to guard us on the secondary. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen.
You take them up top, like additionally, like kind of what I saw, like Marv's the best in college football. Like Marv's the best in the nation, and it's absurd. He's now over 40 catches, and he has 0 drops. Everything that hits his hands, he catches.
Yeah, 48 for 783 and 10 touchdowns already. 10 tutties.
Yeah.
We are what 8 games into this season?
Touchdown a game. Like the kid's a freak show. The kid was getting held all game. Didn't complain. The kid popped his shoulder out middle of the game, popped it back in, missed one play, went back in, and continued to torch what a lot of people consider as the number 1 corner in the NFL draft. Like I love receiver play, and what we're seeing from Marv, we probably won't see again because he's legitimately an alien. Like he runs 23 miles per hour. He's gonna break the bench press record. Like he's a great route runner. He's always under control. He catches everything. He gets open. He's good at hand-to-hand combat. He'll go up top. Like he's an alien. We'll never see it again. And it was really cool because kind of CJ asked for more autonomy in that second half because when they start playing that 6-7 yard cushion, So just give him a slant. And if they come up top, just give him something else because he's so good at hand-to-hand combat. He'll stack on top of it. I mean, he was baptizing all their DBs, and kind of in the second half, it was like Shaq and Penny, man. It's like
that's straight holy water dust now. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's what it was. It's like instead of trying to be in the best play all the time, I think Ryan Day finally acknowledged like we have the best player on the planet in Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, let's use him.
We really do.
We don't have.
He might be the best player in college football. Like I'm saying, he's obviously the best receiver, but like it's crazy in terms of domination at a certain position. Like I can't think of anybody else. Like true.
Yeah, like he's the best player in college football in my opinion, and because there's no one way to guard him. I think it is huge. Now that he's won against hand-to-hand combat and he's winning up top, like Ryan Day no longer has to be in the perfect play because that dude's gonna go get his. Like last year, like there was no need to be in the perfect play because Garrett Wilson was always going to go get his. Like that's where we're at with Marv. He's the best player on the planet. He's sticky. He's great. And kind of that second game, he became his dad. Like right when we needed him. And shit in the first half, bro. If they go his way at the end there, he catches a touchdown instead of looking away from
100%, bro. He's 1-on-1 at the top of the screen with that. Just throw it back shoulder real quick or something, man. Just
throw it up. And so I guess it was a conversation I had in the locker room. Marv was like that. Like I just caught two back to back. Like you need to come my way again. It's like if we're playing I keep using the basketball analogy, but if we're playing basketball, I hit 2 threes. Like I come at the court, you don't look my way for that final 3 before the halftime.
It's heat check. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And Marv deserved the heat check there.
Oh, sure.
Especially because they were stuck in that stupid formation. So
I
love Marv, man. Wide receiver 1 today. He didn't ever have to play a snap he doesn't want to. Now I know the kid wants to work, so really talented kid, and the best player in college football, in my opinion.
I had this talk with my dad earlier, stuff like that. I know it's the NFL reference. Say like the Bengals receiving core. I don't want to talk about the last night, right?
I got you.
The Bengals receiving core in general. Like if any guys are to get single coverage, like you're gonna throw the football to them all the time. Jamar Chase gets single coverage, you're gonna throw the ball all the time. Marvin Harrison gets single coverage. Like I'm checking the play out and I'm being like, okay, I'm throwing the ball no matter what the play. You know what I'm saying? Like
no matter what.
And 6'4", 205, like all that. Like checking and throwing out right there. And that's what they were doing, like regardless of coverage, like it's just, you got to get the ball to your playmaker. He is a consistent 7 for 110 and a touchdown or 2 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns a game. It just depends. You know what I'm saying? Like just keep racking them up. But man, this dude is something crazy though. I haven't seen anything like it in college level for sure.
It goes back to talking about like how much do we need to run the ball? Like here in a couple weeks, like if we get Jackson back, like the coaches are assuming like both coaches. Now I know it's coach talk, whatever, coach speak, I guess, but Ryan and Brian both were very high. They have high hopes that Jackson's coming back. So I mean, 3 weeks from now when we have Marvin and Jackson, like it goes back to how much do we even need to run the fucking ball? Just throw it to just sit back. You got the best quarterback in college football. The two probably, if you're healthy, the 2 best receivers, in my opinion.
No, absolutely, 100%. The 2 best receivers.
So just fucking throw it.
And Emeka's your 3. Emeka's your 3. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, and Julian
too. Yeah, you could just run the spread. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind going 4 wide and just.
4, you know what? I'd even go to the point 4 wide and have Cade Stover as a tight end. Fuck yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like
4 wide, single back, like college Tennessee will do wide splits. Like, I also thought it was funny. Penn State was trying all kinds of crazy stuff. They tried the wide splits in that game. They tried that wishbone converter.
Yeah,
they go the diamond formation out. They go the diamond formation. Dude, that one's crazy because you split everybody out, throw it backside. They threw it backside once. They don't do that. They run it with the quarterback. Like it's a 3. You got a 3 and 1. Joel was saying it on the. I mean, it's a good look for teams that are like.
It's gimmicky. Like it's
like that's what I'm saying. It's gimmicky as shit. Like for teams that can't line up man to man and beat somebody. Like it's kind of but whatever. I mean, it was a good look.
It is what it is. It is funny because they hadn't showed that all year, and they basically were taking L's to Michigan just to get that ready for us. But that's how it goes. Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, puts his stuff through the process and everything. And they ran that little T formation at the, when they scored that touchdown. They ran back-to-back plays. I mean, that's some Pee-wee shit right there. But you know what I'm saying? It's effective. But man, like they was trying to pull everything out of their bag to just to do what they had to do. And when teams like that are pulling everything out of their bag to do it against us, like that obviously is like, we're like a historically great program. You got to do, whatever you can to beat us and everything. And it's happened before in the past, but like, nah, not with this team, bro. Not with this team.
That was my past life, Your
That's the
Honor.
past. Yeah, exactly. Oh man. But what about Sean Clifford though? Like how much of a, as Matt would say, like Matt would say Sean Clifford's a shithead, all right? So like what was your evaluation on his thing? I mean, obviously it was really good for us, you know what I'm saying? Like his play, but
it's crazy because he played the best game of his career and
really
had 3
did.
interceptions and a fumble. Like he played he played out of his mind.
Yeah.
Except for when he was in his mind, it just ended up in JT's hand every time he was in his mind.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
no, he played a great game. They put together a good game plan. The mark was Tanner McAllister. That was our DeMarco Adams.
Yeah.
They kind of like had Washington kind of go at him in the slot. Washington's a really fast slot receiver, real herky jerky. We used to have a couple like that back in the day. I don't really have them anymore, but really, really messed him up. But I'm glad it happened because that needs to happen. That needs to get put on tape for us to kind of evaluate how we're going to cover quicker slot receivers in the future. And I'd rather happen against, Penn State when they also turn the ball over 3 times rather than just it happening in a game where it is man for man, blow for blow. Every yard matters. I thought Sean Clifford played decently well. He did his thing, but also today they came out and said they're going to be evaluating who plays quarterback from here on out at Penn State.
Absolutely.
And I am happy I'm happy that happened after us.
Personally, I came into the year saying the only way that they could beat us is if Drew Aller played. Like the potential is just
Aller's crazy.
That's what I'm saying.
Bro.
Like he's got a cannon. Like I know he's young. I know he's a freshman. I know he's raw. But like at the same time, we've seen fucking Clifford play for 4 or 5 years, whatever it is.
He's been at Penn State for 6 years.
Bro's been a veteran. He's like a fucking veteran, bro. That's crazy.
He's been at Penn State for 6 years.
The only way that Penn State had a chance to beat Michigan or Ohio State this year was if Drew Aller played. And I was shocked that we didn't see Aller. Now Clifford got banged up against Michigan, so Aller came in. But in the second half, when Michigan started kind of pulling away a little bit, I was shocked. Now I know it was on the road in a top 5 environment, whatever. I don't care. Like you got to at least try to throw the ball down the field a little bit to win. So that's kind of my takeaway from that. I mean, I think Aller's got to be the guy going forward.
Yeah, Penn State's going to be their best Penn State next year. So I mean,
absolutely, they are.
They're not going to be their best
easy. I mean, they're going to be a really good team next year, 100%.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, both those running backs are true freshmen. That quarterback Drew, he's from my area, so I got to see him a lot in high school.
Oh yeah, Medina up there,
about 20 minutes away from me, so I got to see him play a little bit because I do a lot of work for the local radio station here that covers sports.
It's awesome.
So I got to see Drew a lot. I really like Drew a lot. Then they have 2 good receivers that are young as well. So and then I was told by a Penn State guy that Washington does intend to come back. He wants to be a wide receiver for Drew next year as well. So
that's awesome.
Just for what it's worth, they're going to be a good team. We're still going to kick their ass, but they're going to be a good team next year.
Yeah, we're going to kick their
ass.
Well, they're coming to the horseshoe next year. So
yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Like Ohio State, the shoe is so different, dude. It's so different.
Like if we're going to Happy Valley, that's like, I mean, we're still going to beat them, but like it's still a different story. You know what I'm saying? But
it's just like we just have to deal with a couple false starts every game, but we still got their number for sure.
For real though. And before we slide over to rankings, I want to talk about CJ Stroud's performance real quick. 26 for 33, 354, a touchdown and no interceptions. Like obviously the entire season we've seen CJ Stroud throw 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns, have more touchdowns than incompletions, 400-yard games, all this stuff. All right. Like I'm not gonna say I'm glad I saw a game like this, but in a way I kind of am because like a 1 touchdown, no interception. And just how he was able to just like in the fourth quarter, it wasn't like you just needed the shot play, this or that. He was taking what the defense gave him. And it was just, living the first down, living inside, inside the 10 yards and everything. So just like, obviously it didn't feel like a normal CJ game where he'd throw 4 touchdowns against like a Maryland or like Rucker or something like that. But what'd you take away in that though, with the 1 touchdown interception?
CJ's back half of the third and fourth quarter were a masterclass.
Oh yeah.
He was throwing through very tight NFL windows.
Yep.
He was checking protections. Like it was truly a masterclass. The ball placement on that throw down the left side to Emeka was absurd. You can't hand it better than that. Yep. He was throwing into some very, very tight. Like it was truly a masterclass. And then additionally, like this was the first time we saw CJ like light a fire. There was 2 moments where he was talking trash, and I love to see it. I like that CJ Stroud rather than the doughy-eyed CJ Stroud. I always say, like, hey, like, you grow those dreads out. I need you to be a true dreadhead out here. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Really be like that.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
He was really like that. On the big throw down the field, just like the fire he showed, the jumping around.
Man.
It's like, okay, like if you want to be like Joe Burrow, like if you want to be like Jalen Hurts, you want to be like these guys that kind of are known for having that clutch gene, you have to kick it up a notch when you are on the ropes and be someone that they could look to. I think he became that, even standing on the bench. Now, I don't want it to get like too distracting, but he put on a masterclass. He stayed super composed, and every time he took a 3-step drop, I knew, okay, we're gaining 10 to 15 yards here, and that's exactly what happened.
Like it's just, it's about as sure of a thing in college football. When he drops back, like very rarely is he fucking up. But that ball to a Mecca, bro. That was, I mean,
that's a high-level NFL throw.
It might have been his best ball.
That's the thing. Like
it was fucking on a line, just right. I mean, just perfect. Like it was unreal.
It wasn't too much air under it. Wasn't like on a line or anything like that. And that's something that scouts are going to get there. Scouts are going to be salivating over this film, even though it wasn't like a 5-6 touchdown game. They're still going to be salivating over this film, especially that second half, like Kris said.
Just a
because of the situation we were in there. I thought in that drive when Trey ended up busting the big one, I was thinking about it like this could be like one of the Heisman moments right here. Driving down. If that was
Trey took it,
Trey fucking took it, but it was fine. Like I was thinking, like, okay, we're gonna drive down here. CJ's gonna lead us on a nice drive. It's gonna be like 4 or 5 minutes left. He's gonna take the lead right here, and then we're just gonna get a stop and run the clock out. But then, boom, the explosion happened, and it was just like the whole team just fucking set the world on fire. I was like, okay, I'll take that. I'll take it. Whatever. We'll save the Heisman moment for Michigan. But like going into that drive, those first 2 throws, I'm like, all right, here he comes, baby. Here it is. And then Trey took his shine, I guess. But whatever. Like, I don't care.
You see those 3-step drops, and you're like, yeah, like he's one of them. Like I don't get nervous at all as soon as I see that back foot hit the ground because it's coming out and it's going to get there. So
100%, yeah, absolutely. I thought he played great.
For sure.
Me too,
man. And talking about Ohio State and everything, like the rankings just came out, guys.
They did. Yes,
they just did, and it's a fresh batch. Just maybe 25 minutes ago. The top 25 has been released, and obviously, let's take a look at the top 4. Number 1, the Tennessee Volunteers. Take a picture of this one. Peyton Manning smiling. I know everybody is in Rocky Top, Tennessee. They're all smiling. Matt knows the song, word for word, bar for bar. That Alabama.
I do know the song pretty good. It's a great fight song.
It is a great fight song. You got to give credit where credit's due. So you got Tennessee at 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia 3, and Clemson at 4. What's the initial reaction over this? And we'll, we'll keep working our way back through a couple more of these, top 10, 15 and all that. But what's the initial reaction of the top 4?
I wish that Georgia was 2. First of all, I like that. I like when there's a little bit of a bigger chip on the shoulder of Ohio State. Obviously, he's an Ohio State guy. But I wanted 1 versus 2 this weekend because I knew that was going to work itself out. So Ohio State was going to be 2 next week. But I honestly, if someone asked me who the 4 best teams were, this is what I would say. Maybe not this order, but Tennessee has the resume. Tennessee's getting better and better every week. They've now proved that they can stop a pass game, at least a resemblance of a pass game, and then also that their run defense is legit. Georgia has some question marks. Obviously, they're very good defensively, but they did just have a major injury to the Smith kid. Obviously, he's a first rounder, and that's kind of going to hurt their pass rush numbers. Additionally, they are kind of bottom in the SEC in sacks. So that kind of is something of note. When you think about Georgia, you don't think about that too often. Clemson, I think, is fraudulent at 4. I would have Michigan there if it were up to me. In fact, neutral site. If someone dropped TCU and Clemson on the field together, I would say that TCU is the better team. I don't think Clemson has anybody that can check Quentin Johnson and my guy Max. So that's kind of where I'm at with them. But I'm not too mad at this top 4. I just keep thinking to myself, this is going to iron itself out. I do think Clemson drops 1, probably maybe 2 games this season. Still, they do have North Carolina, and then of course I do believe that Notre Dame is going to be a tougher test than once expected for them. But in terms of this ranking, I mean, I'm okay with it. Nothing egregious here. I do think the committee tried to sneak some stuff in the back end, but my eagle eyes see everything, and we'll talk about that in a sec.
For sure. And I know you're talking about Clemson might drop 1 or 2 this year and stuff like that. might drop one this week, honestly. I don't know. I don't want to kind of foreshadow, but
Notre Dame's scary.
I feel weird about that, man. You know what I'm saying?
A team with nothing to lose and talent enough to
Notre Dame's got a lot of talent, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Night game, NBC.
They got a lot of good football players for sure.
But
this top four, like Clemson,
ruins it. It's like the dragons. Like you see the three dragons in the wind, like making the funny face.
Yeah,
I think they're phony.
They all looking like whoa.
I would. My top four would be Ohio State, Tennessee, Georgia, and Michigan in that order, just based off the teams, based off of what I've seen, just who I think is the best team. Put it that way. Now, I think Tennessee deserves to be number one right now. They have the best wins in the sport, and they're just dominating, playing great offense. But I was shocked that the TCU, now kind of going back a little bit in the top 10, I was shocked that TCU was 7. I think that they're better than Clemson as well, and I think they have 2 wins better than Bama.
Bama's best win. Yeah, they absolutely do. Kansas State and
they
Oklahoma
have 2
State.
wins that are better than any. You know what I mean? You could put their wins up against anybody's other than Tennessee's. So I was shocked that they were that low because they've been playing a lot of really good football too. It's not like they've been skating by or anything like that. They've been playing great, especially on the offensive side. So I was shocked TCU was that low. And then LSU at number 10. Shocked the hell out of me. There's no way they deserve to be a top 10 team. Losing to Florida State early, like there's no way they did. It's BBU is what Chris said.
Yeah,
we'll boost Bama University or whatever.
Bama Booster University. Ole Miss couldn't carry the torch, so we'll carry it.
There's no shot LSU should be a top 10 team. It's because they're trying. And then you got Texas on the back end too. Texas on the back end. With the 3-loss team right now, they have them in the top 25. Do I think Texas is a top 25 team? Probably. Talent-wise, yeah, they are. But they haven't deserved that ranking so far this year. So those are basically my biggest gripes with it. I think – but whatever. Everything's going to play itself out. Like, it really is.
So that LSU at 10 is to help justify TCU below Bama, because then when Bama beats LSU, it'll be like, okay, now Alabama has wins over number 10 LSU and then number 24 Texas, and those wins are comparable to the wins that TCU has over Oklahoma State and Kansas State. That's all that
crazy. They're setting it up for if the SEC cannibalizes itself. Well, like not cannibalize, but if each team has 1 loss right there, they're going to be right fucking there, man. I'm telling you.
It is interesting because in the top 3, Georgia is opened up as a 14-point favorite, then it went down to 12, and then it went down to like 10 over Tennessee, and that's crazy to see the number 3 team being favored over the number 1 team.
Yeah, it doesn't shock me.
No, it doesn't shock me either. Just found it interesting. I do like that Oregon and USC are in there 8 and 9. I found that entertaining because they're both done. They're not going to get in, and then UCLA all the way down at 12. Oregon's floating in a good enough spot where if chaos does happen, they will get a shot to make the top 4, but they could also be used to kind of block them to keep Georgia in the top 4 as well.
I think that's what it is. 100%
like a blocker.
It's a blocker. I think that they've set it up perfectly to where if Clemson loses and TCU loses, they're going to get 3 SEC teams in. I think it's happening. I'm telling you, I think they set it these fucking rankings right here are crazy because if LSU beats Bama, they're right. They're going to replace Bama. They're jumping right to 6 probably or 7 right there. Even with the 2 losses, they're going to control their destiny in the West if they beat Alabama because Bama's already got a conference loss or whatever. Yeah. So, I mean, if LSU wins out, they're in the playoff for sure. I mean, it's I don't know. Whatever.
It's bizarro. It's bizarro world.
It's bizarre, but whatever.
Man, and I kind of want to just touch like really, really lightly on that Georgia Tennessee game. All right. Really, really lightly on it. Like, what is something that you, would look at coming into this? Like, just like, what's one thing that you really want to circle, coming into Saturday?
Wide splits and Keely Ringo versus Jalen Hyatt. I have Keely Ringo as the number 3 corner on my Kris Drew's big board for cornerbacks this year.
Yes, sir.
And I have Jalen Hyatt as my wide receiver, probably 3 or 4 at this point. Nah, I'm probably 5. He doesn't route anybody. I just think it's going to be interesting because I think Keely Ringo has really stiff hips. So I'm curious to see if he's going to be able to be fluid enough to stick with Hyatt. And additionally, like will they have enough time to get after it? Because that's the huge part of this that I don't think a lot of people are considering. And obviously, like with Nolan going down, Tennessee should have more time. So just in a vacuum, it's like the things you need to beat Tennessee: interior pressure and good corner play and safety play. Linebackers don't really matter that much. It's just interior pressure and outside play. Can you defend the wide splits? And additionally, can Brock Bowers get open? Because Stetson Bennett has been flirting with danger a lot lately because Brock Bowers doesn't get open. He doesn't, despite popular belief, because obviously he's a big tight end.
Yeah.
And so if he can't get open on his own and Stetson Bennett makes one, maybe two mistakes, we could have ourselves a kind of a war zone. Now, in the last X amount of whatever, when Georgia allows over 30 points, they're 2-7. So take that for what it's worth. 30 points is the quote unquote analytic break point for Georgia and for Kirby Smart.
Yeah, I would say the same. Like with with Stetson Bennett, like I was watching the game against Florida. There was a lot of times where he put the ball in danger. Obviously, like the one where Brock Bowers bobbled it 6-7 times, caught it, scored a touchdown. Anything could have happened that play. But then really in the second half, that's where I was really concerned with what was going on with Georgia. I mean, they were up 28-3, and Atlanta Falcons, their, in-state team right there for that. But I mean, Florida was able to make a comeback, score 17 in the third quarter. Couple of turnovers here and there, fumble, interception. So that was a little bit, that was pretty concerning on that part. Obviously they refocused and, ended up getting the dub, but just Stetson Bennett, some of the balls he was throwing was just like, I was just, honestly, I was kind of like, just like grinding my teeth, like kind of like, oh, like you shouldn't be doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like some of those throws just ill-advised, and he's not gonna throw guys open. Guys are gonna, obviously have to win their routes and just, make it an easier pitch and catch for him. And obviously we know Stetson Bennett as that guy. He was able to make plays, obviously when he needed to make plays last year in the national championship. Obviously it is a new season, and he's got, even, I'd say better players right now. But man, I mean, Matt, what are you looking at, like first glance for this one?
Honestly, the Nolan Smith, that injury that's a big injury.
Astronomical.
Like, they haven't been able to get after the passer as well as last year, just because they lost.
I believe they're bottom in the SEC in producing and sacks.
So losing, not only is that bad, it's their rush defensive ends, or just their pass rush in general, has been subpar this year.
Yeah, they're getting pressure but not getting sacks, which is why they've been in close games against Missouri, and that's why Kent State was able to get their rocks off a little bit. So
and it's going to be huge to get after Hendon Hooker, make him rush the passer with him, but especially down the road if they draw us at some point. We know CJ doesn't do well against pressure, so I think that injury is something to really watch in this game. Like if they haven't been able to get pressure with them, or get home rather with him very much this year. So how are they going to be able to manufacture some? Now I'm sure Kirby will draw some things up and try to confuse Hendon, whatever, with some linebackers, stuff like that. But in terms of just the pass rush from the defensive line, that's one thing I'm going to be watching. How effective are they at getting after Hendon Hooker this game? Because losing their best rush end, I mean, it's hard to replace, especially this late in the season. Like,
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, man, we've officially hit that time of November. I mean, it's November 1st. This is when all the, the rivalry games, the big boy ball comes out. I mean, what are we, 25 days away from the game?
25.
Insane. 25 days of Christmas. You know what I'm talking about? Man, this is something, though. You guys got any final thoughts before we head out of here?
I do not.
All right, Matt.
Final thoughts. Do we cover a 38-point spread this week?
Nah.
You don't think we cover 38? Northwestern fucking.
That's great. 38 though. That's a big number. That's a big number.
Fitzgerald is going to drop 11 back into coverage and just force us to go on these like 13, 14 play drives. It's going to be gross. It's going to be not
exactly
fun to watch.
What he's going to do. 100%.
Yeah, it's going to be so gross.
At least we get to practice running the ball and shit. Yeah. So whatever. But also, here's a question for you, Chris.
Oh, let's go.
Just out of curiosity, if we get the 1 seed, do we pick the Peach Bowl or the Fiesta Bowl? I think we pick the Fiesta Bowl.
No, absolutely Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah.
So it's like it's almost a guaranteed lock. We're playing the Fiesta Bowl because the winner of the SEC is going to the Peach Bowl no matter what.
Want Atlanta,
absolutely, we want the Fiesta Bowl.
100%. Like we're going there no matter what. That's what I think. I think it's a lock.
Oh yeah.
And then back in LA for the Natty.
Back in LA for the Natty. Out west. Buckeyes out west.
Yes, sir. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it, man. Chris, we appreciate you coming back on, man. Just
guys.
Obviously, keep doing this again. Brady, wish you was here and all that, but Obviously we did the thing. We'll be back at it again and all that. So, with that being said, I'm Chase Johnson, Matt Ricketts, Kris Drew, who's in the cut. Now we out. See you guys.
See y'all.